So, welcome to today's meditation time. I would just invite you just to settle in where you are. Let your body, your physical body, become comfortable. Allow your eyes just to either gently close or just kind of look down away from the screen and just begin to notice the breath. Just pay attention to the breath coming in and the breath going out. And just really just kind of bask in this concept of pausing. Notice what stillness feels like. Notice what this refuge of these moments away from the busyness of life feels like. And then as you connect to that sensation of breath coming in and going out, allow your body to get a little more comfortable, a little more settled. And then let's just set an intention for our time together. Maybe you have a personal intention that you're working with, but if not, just let the intention be pause. My intention is just to pause, to feel the power of the pause, the wonder of the pause, the grace of the pause. And for these few minutes that we have together, as we pause together, I was inspired by someone earlier today about the idea that I wanted to share. And it was a reminder for me of one of the biggest benefits and one of the biggest impacts of this practice. And so I would just invite you just to think of this visual as I kind of describe it to you, and then see if it can help to remind you of the impact of what it's like to show up for these very consistent, very steady times of meditation. So just picture you're outside, outdoors, and there's this beautiful, calm wind just blowing, and the sky is just this shade of blue, almost indescribable. These big billowy clouds are just kind of moving slowly across the sky, and it truly is just this perfect day. And then all of a sudden, that same exact day, with that calmness in the air, the wind begins to pick up. And it starts to blow really fast. Trees are being whipped from side to side. Things are being strewn across the yard. And all of a sudden, you start to feel this growing anxiety within you of how this change in the weather became so extreme. You watch how it has changed the landscape around you. And then all of a sudden, it stops. And you think, I'll go back to this nice, calm wind, these billowy clouds. But instead, the clouds are all gone. The wind has completely stopped. And the sun is high, bright in the sky. There's no refuge from the sun or from the heat. There's no breeze to cool things off. It's almost stifling. And again, you start to feel this little bit of anxiousness inside of you of, again, the extremity of the change of the weather. And how if it stays that way for very long, you'll see the effects around you. You'll see it in the flowers. You'll see it in the animals. You'll see it in yourself. And I would propose that a lot of people in this world, that's what their everyday life looks like. They have these moments where things seem calm and good and soft and steady, and then they have these extreme two sides of the other end. One side, things feel like they can't get more extreme until all of a sudden it shifts far to the other side. And they're just hanging on, waiting for it to come back to the center and settle. And maybe you, and I can say for me as well, have experienced that in your own life. These big extreme moments. even ones that sometimes felt good and celebratory, they were so big that there was this overwhelming element to them. But I was reminded today in a conversation with someone that this practice teaches us to live in the middle. And that yes, there is going to be weather, metaphorical as well as real. There are going to be situations in life which seem like they could be really big and cause a lot of anxiety. But through this practice, we learn to live in the middle so that even when these seemingly extreme things come in life, like the big winds and the scorching sun, they don't impact us as much. Our blips on our radar get smaller and less extreme over time. It doesn't mean that we don't feel joy in big ways, and it doesn't mean that we don't feel sorrow. It just means that these things happening around us don't rob us of the evenness and the steadiness that this practice provides. And I sat today and I thought, what a gift that has been to me over the years. Because I have lived a life where I looked around and everything seemed perfect, and all of a sudden the storms came. And I just let them carry me away. Caught up, anxious, scared, frustrated. But then I also had these moments where I thought, life can't get any better than this. And I forgot that I still needed to practice, that I still needed to pause. I was too busy living in this high, happy time, thinking I didn't need to do the work because I'd arrived at the place that I thought I was working toward. But I will tell you, after living both ways throughout my years, even though those moments of big highs and big happiness seemed to kind of fill me up momentarily, I choose to live in the middle. I choose to stay right here in the center of the evenness of the present moment, of the quietness of the pause. And if you've experienced that in your own life, you'll understand when I tell you that when you do that, the colors around you are more vibrant. The experiences that you have are richer and deeper. And the feelings are still just as real. But you don't live in the extremes anymore. And so what I'd like for us to do is, I asked us in the very beginning to just kind of relish this pause, the power that it is. I'd like us to cultivate that for these next few minutes. In the quiet, with our breath, with our stillness, and with this new resolve that is our choice to stay right here in the middle, knowing that we will feel and we will experience, but those things won't sweep us away to the extremes on either side. As comfortable as you are in that spot here for meditation, you'll feel comfortable in that place right in the middle as well. It will give you solace and stability. It will be compassionate and gracious. It'll feel safe and secure. And the most beautiful part is, you won't feel like you need to, or that you can, stop your practice, because you've already attained whatever it is you're looking for. Your practice will be part of that life in the middle. It's not helping us to arrive at a place. It's helping us to just keep walking the path. So I'd invite you, let's just sit and pause and breathe and find our comfort right here in the middle. And as you continue to breathe, I just want to share one more visual with you as we begin to head toward closing our time out. There have been a lot of people throughout history that have received this title of Zen master and great teacher over the generations. The one thing, though, that I've noticed across so many of those people, regardless of when they lived and where in this world that they lived, was the countenance that they carried on their face. Most recently, I've seen that so often on the face of Thich Nhat Hanh, and we've all seen it on the faces of others as well. But I believe that when you look on a face like his and others like his, you see that life in the middle physically on their countenance. There's a softness to their gaze. There's a softness to their jaw. There's a softness in the muscles in their face. There's even a softness across the lines on the forehead. And as I think about that, I realize that that is what I aspire toward. Not to be like them, but to keep that model close in my mind's eye so that others who I've had the chance to interact with, who I've had the chance to cross paths with, can look upon my countenance and understand what this life of evenness and steadfastness looks and feels like. They will also see that I love big and that I feel and that I get worried sometimes and that change is sometimes scary, but that my blips of those pieces on my radar are small and they don't rob me of the countenance that's on my face, which represents what's in my heart. I can tell you over the last couple of years, as I've really worked to hone in on this, to understand it and to live it, I've celebrated the birth of a grandchild. I've walked through the path of cancer. I've been married. I've experienced so many things. But they've all been done from this place of evenness and steadfastness right here in the middle. It doesn't discount any of those things. But as I look back, I realize they were all experiences that have added to my story, but it's this practice that continues to carry me on. That is my wish for each of you. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a journey. But I want it first to be planted in my heart, and then I want it to show on my face. And I wish the very same thing for each of you. Namaste.